It's almost Halloween, fan is real, and Wenleng finally decided to rub his two brain cells together. It's a pretty damn good day. Hey, welcome back. I'm Caitlin, and today we're talking about China's first Omegaverse BL. ABO Desire is finally over, and I just have to talk about it.
Calling Caitlin's Corner.
I feel like a pretty good place to start is what the hell even is the Omegaverse. When I first started this show, I had absolutely no idea what was going on. I heard the word alpha and rut and my brain malfunctioned. So I did decide to do some research before I continued with the show, and luckily for me, one of my best friends in the whole entire world tried to explain it the best she could. So here's my very amateur rendition of what the hell an Omegaverse is. The Omegaverse is a fictional world that categorises all humans into three different subsections. We have the alphas, betas and omegas, and no, they are not werewolves. Whatever subsection they're in influences their romantic and sexual interactions with each other. So alphas are highly dominant and omegas are highly submissive, and they can get pregnant, even males, which I was confused at the start, but Tori explained it. Then we have betas, who are like the normal people. They're not really relevant in this show. Then we have the enigmas, that are a very rare group. They're like the alphas of the alphas. They're highly dominant, super smart, super strong, and they have full control over even alphas. They can also get both alphas and omegas pregnant, which comes into play in this show. I hope that helped even a little bit summarise what the hell the Omegaverse is, because honestly I was so confused up until about halfway through this show. But if it didn't explain it very well, I'll leave some links below to some places that like explain it better than I could. ABO Desire is a 16 episode Chinese fantasy BL which was adapted from the novel Desire by the NG sisters. Now that's not actually their names, but I'm going to butcher every single Chinese name in this. I apologise in advance, my mouth just doesn't move like that. And even though all of the actors in this show are Chinese, it was actually filmed mostly in Taiwan and Hong Kong to avoid censorship issues. Desire takes place in a world that has been influenced by a strange virus that has changed the gender roles and split humans into three categories: alphas, betas, omegas, and in the very rare category of enigma, all the normal Omegaverse stuff that I just went through. Like in every Omegaverse genre, the alphas are dominant, the omegas are very fertile, and then we have the enigmas who can even tame S-tier alphas, which are like the top of the top. They can even tame them. Then betas, again, they're pretty irrelevant to the show. Our main lead, Hua Yong, is one of these very rare enigmas who can tame alphas. He's very strong, he's very intelligent, but to keep his identity a secret, he poses as an omega to capture the attention of our other main lead, Shaoyou, who is a very powerful S-tier alpha. What started as just Hua Yong hiding his identity turned into obsession, power struggles, and even an unexpected male pregnancy. And of course, like every other BL, we have a side couple. We have Galto, which again, I'm sorry if it's wrong. He is an omega posing as a beta, and his love interest, Wenleng, who he's known since he was in school. So basically everybody is lying to everybody, and we have 16 episodes to watch the absolute mess play out. And honestly, with the occasional long and stare and steamy kiss, it's worth it. Now, if you were in Wattpad or AO3 back in 2015, the Omegaverse is nothing new to you. And for fans, this felt like Christmas. Up until this point, the closest thing we had got to an actual Omegaverse live action was the Thai BL Pit Babe. And even though they had like the Omegaverse feel to it, it was nothing in comparison to ABO. And the writers seemed to tone down the Omegaverse aspect of it in season 2. Even though it was still there, it was just very tame. And ABO Desire didn't hold back at all. We had ruts, heats, male pregnancy. They knew what they wanted and they went for it. Basically, the little taster of the Omegaverse in Pit Babe we got from Thailand was just a taster for the full meal that ABO Desire was bringing. And what was actually really surprising to me is, if you guys didn't know, ABO Desire started as a webtoon, like a web series, written by two sisters. Although we have saw webtoons get adapted into shows before, it's normally people rewriting them, so they end up like a watered down version of what the original source was. However, the two sisters that wrote the original webtoon are actually credited as screenwriters and something else, I forgot what that official name was, on the official credits. So these two sisters who wrote the original source material had a huge influence on how the actual show turned out, which I thought was really different because I never saw that happen before. These two sisters had a vision and they were going to make sure that it came to screen exactly how they planned it. Now, we can't talk about this show or the Omegaverse in general without talking about the other side of it, and that's the negative aspects people have a problem with. Basically, when it comes to the Omegaverse, you have to throw your morals out the window. First of all, people think that these relationships are just highly toxic, especially the relationships between alphas and omegas. When they have like that power dynamic, people think that it's just a very toxic situation and probably shouldn't be something that we're shown on screen. Then there's the inclusion of plot points like ruts and heats, which in all fairness is in every genre of Omegaverse, but people think that it blurs the line between consent and just throws all that out the window. Then the last criticism I've saw about Omegaverse in general is the power dynamics. This is kind of like the toxic relationship point, but the fact that alphas are always portrayed as like the powerful, possessive CEOs when the omegas are like the submissive baby making machines, and the betas are just like NPC characters. So people think this just further portrays the outdated gender roles that you normally see in a relationship. Now, I don't feel like I can comment on like these negative opinions of certain things in the Omegaverse by the netizens, because again, I'm not like 100% into the Omegaverse world. I don't know everything there is. These are the only two shows that I've watched for the Omegaverse. I've never read any like of this genre, so I feel like I'm not qualified enough to talk about it, but I did just want to bring it up and maybe you guys can tell me your opinion in the comments. And then of course we have to talk about China's reaction. As I said at the beginning of this video, this was mostly shot in Taiwan and Hong Kong so they could like get around the censorship issues in China. We all know China doesn't have a great track record at airing BLs. Most queer romances in China are portrayed as like bromances or, my favourite, deep friendship. But ABO Desire came in hot, filled with BL angst. Some of you might even remember the Chinese BL Addicted that was taken off air about halfway through the season for being too gay. And ABO Desire was no different. A couple of weeks into airing, it was announced by the international platforms that were owned by China that they had halted all streaming of the show due to the authorities. But ABO Desire actually never went anywhere. Even though it was banned from streaming on Chinese owned platforms, normal international platforms like Google or Lala continued to give us that Omegaverse goodness. Now, this is a little side tangent that I wanted to go on because I found this so interesting when I was researching this section. If you guys are avid BL watchers, you probably know of the website WeTV, or an app, I think it might be an app. And they have a lot of BL originals. So like Top Form, for example, which is one that I just watched recently, is a WeTV original. And if you guys don't know, WeTV is actually owned by a company called Tencent, which is a Chinese owned company, like one of the biggest companies in China. So even though China is so strict on their censorship of BLs, GLs, queer romances in general, they are one of the biggest people funding Thai BLs. Which I think it was just so hypocritical, but I just wanted to mention it. It was a fun tangent that I found myself going down. Now getting on to the reason you guys are all here. What did I think about this show? Honestly, in short, I really liked it. As I said at the start of the video, I went into this show confused with a capital C. I had absolutely no idea what was happening. But after a few weeks, one of my friends who knows the Omegaverse much better than I do explained it to me the best she could, and I felt like I had like the basic understanding to continue watching the show. So thanks, Tori, love you. First, I want to start off with the casting of this show because it was absolute perfection. Both the couples have such good chemistry on and off screen. In fact, I watched a bunch of the interviews and stuff off screen, and I think their chemistry might be even better like behind the scenes than it is on screen. But the casting was perfection. I can completely see why people are obsessed with these two couples, including me. As for the actual show, the plot was so interesting. The storyline for the two male leads, Hua Yong and Shaoyou, was actually, it was so intense, it translated so well to on screen. As the story started to unravel and we saw why Hua Yong was so obsessed with Shaoyou, it it pulled you in, like you couldn't stop watching their story unfold, and that is how you know it's a great show. Even though the show had so many shock factors, the absolute unhinged way Hua Yong went after Shaoyou made it so hard not to be invested in the relationship. And that's how you know the writers have wrote a good story between two people. It was so fascinating to watch Hua Yong's obsession like slowly unfold more and more throughout the show. Like, that man was on a mission and he was determined to get exactly what he wanted. It was both hilariously funny and slightly terrifying. That man's jealousy is out of this world. It made me giggle to see that this man would literally bow down on his knees to breathe the same air as Shaoyou, yet Shaoyou thought he was in complete control the whole time. And like, baby, that's just not true. Shaoyou is such a grumpy menace and Hua Yong is absolutely obsessed with him. He is so far gone and Shaoyou is right there with him. He just won't admit it. Also, in the very last episode, the relationship between Peanut, who's their child, and Hao is so hilarious. Like, this man is out here beefing with a 3-year-old that he made. You made that child and you're out here arguing with him over your man. He's so embarrassingly in love and I'm eating it up. Now, one thing I wasn't a fan of was the Tulang side couple, so Gaoto and Wenleng. Now, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love this couple. I might have even liked them more than the main couple, which I know is controversial, but it's just my opinion. Their storyline was so interesting, and friends to lovers is my favourite trope, don't come at me. Why did they get 3 minutes of screen time? Their story was so interesting and we got to see absolutely none of it. Every single week I was excited to see how their storyline would progress, and every single week it was just the same miscommunication trope and daddy dumbass never using his brain to the point it was frustrating. Like, honestly, Wenlang has the emotional intelligence of a bag of rocks and the decision making skills of a 3-year-old who's had candy for the first time. He is a walking disaster and honestly I'm kinda here for it. Every single time an episode finished, me and Tori would have like a little rant session about how we felt about the episode. And 9 out of 10 times it was us complaining about how frustrated we were with the side couple. Even in the final episode, I feel like we got no conclusion to the side couple at all. Like, yes, we got like the little cute hug scene. I'm still so confused with them. I left that show with more questions than answers for the side couple in particular. And I was really hoping we would get a season 2 or like a special episode to like continue their storyline, but that doesn't seem to be happening. Speaking of unfinished storylines, fans were initially very excited to get like the next part of this. We all just assumed there was going to be more, mainly because the NG sisters actually announced like, if you guys want it bad enough, we can get it, blah blah blah. And so hashtags started trending, people were posting on TikTok, everybody was rewatching the show. But it was announced that they don't plan on making a season 2 with these couples, but they like sprinkled in there that the Desire series, like the universe, will continue in a different way that we don't expect, which I'm not quite sure what that means, but it does mean that the story of these two couples is finished, which I'm kind of sad about because again, we don't know what happened with Wenlang and Gaoto. I would like to see like a conclusion for them. I don't know what's coming in the future for the Desire universe, but I'm very excited to see it. And that's it for this video. Please let me know in the comments below what you thought of the Desire series. I've heard a lot of mixed emotions about it, so let me know in the comments what you thought about it, and also tell me any recommendations for BLs I should watch. I have a whole list of shows I've already watched. I've watched so many, but I also have a little list of ones I would like to watch or ones that are coming out soon. If there's any you guys want me to watch, leave them in the comments. I can add them to my list and then make a video about it. And that's it for this video. Please like and subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications so you get notified every single time I upload, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.
Good night, baby.
I love you.